Hello, I'm Alexander Manelli. I'm a documentary filmmaker based in Northeast Pennsylvania near Scranton. I'm here today to talk about the camera saddle from SAKK, and we will do our best to avoid any and all SAKK jokes. It's an unfortunate name, but I first want to thank my colleague and friend Tim for allowing me to use his SAKK Camera Saddle. Thank you, Tim. So in order to properly test the SAKK Cinema Saddle, I needed to come somewhere where there's a lot of walking involved, somewhere where the action is, somewhere where I can really put it through its paces. And there's nowhere else I could think of other than a mall. And as you can see by the parking lot, there will be plenty of space to walk around uninhibited. Let's go to the mall. I feel like every time in my life, especially when I was younger, when I was at a mall with a camera, something just triggered the mall cops to want to kick me out. I don't know why, but hopefully now that everybody is basically equipped with a camera in their pocket on their phone, it won't be an issue. So. All right, so that wasn't the greatest test in the world. I didn't have a lot of time in the mall. Mall security they were on me. They had me figured out. Why are they so uptight? I don't understand. I mean, I'm in the mall. Just be happy. So I was first introduced to the SAKK Camera Saddle by YouTuber, filmmaker Mark Bone. Yes, the same Mark Bone that reviewed my footage on his YouTube channel.
I would definitely hire you to shoot some sports stuff for me, Alex. This is very strong.
He kind of talked about it in one of his videos, and I saw him using it, and it just looked funny. You know, it reminded me of, if you've ever watched Ren and Stimpy.
What rolls downstairs from owner? Everyone needs a
log from Blammo.
It's like, here's a product, it's a log, and you play with it. You know, it has that kind of, it's a bag with styrofoam balls. It's just a bag filled with styrofoam balls. I went to test it at the local mall. It is designed to take stress off your back. Don't call it a bag, cause it is the SAKK. My mind has kind of changed. Like, as I've used it, I really did find it to be beneficial, especially putting it on the ground and using it as sort of like a tripod on the ground. It's very simple, but again, it's very useful and helpful. I wouldn't really use this as like a gimbal. If you want smooth, you know, floating footage, this isn't really for that. It's more, you know, if you're doing handheld and you're doing it for maybe a long period of time, it kind of relieves some of the stress on your arms and back. You know, if you've been shooting handheld all day, your biceps kind of start to get a little weak and you start to get a little extra shake in the footage. This helps with that for sure. You know, I did a lot of panning shots. I think it's pretty stable. This is definitely something I will consider using. Coming to the C80, it's very light and it's much more compact. So I'm coming from a C200, a little bigger, a little heavier. That extra weight helps in terms of micro jitters. So if you're hand holding the camera a lot, which I pretty much do 90% of the time, you might see little kind of micro jitters when you're using smaller cameras. Mirrorless cameras, DSLRs, these really suffer from that a lot unless you have a rig. I kind of noticed a little bit, especially on the 14mm, the Canon 14mm that I use. It was a little wobbly during handheld shooting sometimes. The C80 has digital IS, digital image stabilization. So it can actually help you out if you don't have a stabilized lens, and the Canon 14mm is not stabilized. However, as I've shown you in a previous video, the digital IS on the C80 is a pretty big crop, at least for me. If you have any buttons or anything at the base of your camera that you're trying to access, so the C80 has a couple buttons on the bottom, tough to really get to those while it's on the SAKK. Another issue, the LCD screen. So again, the C80 has a flippy LCD screen. It rotates quite a bit. And if you do try to rotate, sometimes it'll rotate back. Small inconvenience, but again, if you're trying to capture something critical, it could kind of mess up the screen, or you can't get the screen in the exact position you're hoping for. Is this worth $150? If I'm gonna buy a lot of equipment at once, if I'm making a large equipment order, yeah, I would probably throw it in there for 150 bucks. It's definitely a valuable tool. It's useful, it's helpful. $150 is a lot of money for a bag with styrofoam balls. I mean, you could probably take an old camera bag. I have the old Canon one. Maybe put a blanket or some t-shirts or packing peanuts in there, and you know, you're good to go. It wouldn't be as good, but it's a cheap way to kind of accomplish a similar thing. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it is useful. It is good. I do like this product. $150 though. If it was like $69.99, I'd be like, all right, I'll do it. $150. Ugh. And I know what you're gonna say. Well, it's, you help your back. It's yes. So it is useful. Yeah, I don't know. If you have 150 bucks, you don't mind spending it, it's definitely a useful tool. If you're making a big purchase order with a bunch of things, lenses, lights, all sorts of gear, throw it in. Throw it in for 150 bucks. Yeah. It's just a bag filled with styrofoam balls. I went to test it at the local mall. It is designed to take stress off your back. Don't call it a bag because it is the SAKK. It's just a bag filled with styrofoam balls. I went to test it at the local mall. It is designed to take stress off your back. Don't call it a bag because it is the SAKK. Call it the bag because it is the SAKK.
I would definitely hire you